Matt.
Welcome back. I'm Jimmy.
We are Two Average Guys. Cheers to Sunday. Another Sunday, another loss, unfortunately. There's been a lot. I mean, no different than the previous years, unfortunately. But we are back. We want to come and chat with you and tell you how we thought yesterday went. We were actually at the game. We were fortunate to be invited to the a pregame tailgate with the Sam Foltz Foundation, which was fun.
Brunch. It was awesome. It was cool.
Yeah, we got a few drinks. We got some breakfast. It was delicious. Got to hang out with a couple Huskers. Brandon Riley was there.
Yeah, he's the best.
He's the bomb.
We got to meet Andy Janovich. He's an absolute stud.
Which, by the way, we are going to get him on the show.
Yeah,
so be on the lookout. He wants to come on, so
be careful bringing him over because my wife might be interested. I'm just kidding.
I don't know where we're going to put him. He's a lot bigger.
Yeah, he's kind of jacked.
He's big. We'll figure it out. We'll take the camera back a little bit or something, but we will be getting Jano on the show. He's very excited.
But yeah, he's cool dude. It's nice to meet him. He signed our helmet, which is cool.
Yep.
But yeah, it was fun to just kind of hang with that type of a crowd before a game because normally people just go down and kind of do their own thing.
Yeah.
But we get to do kind of fun things sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes Brent Qualla was there. We got to say Brent. A few other guys we didn't recognize, but I think they were kickers. But
no, there were some cool people there. So.
But yeah, it was fun. Had a good time. We got to go to the game. We were 5 rows up. Which we were told to say thanks to Adam Carricker for that. So Carricker,
thank you, Adam.
That's
per usual because you've done a lot for us.
Yes. So very nice tickets. So thank you, Carricker. Jason, thank you for inviting us and bringing us out.
Jason's the best.
So we had a good time before the game. We had a good time at the game. We, to be honest,
for the first half, yes, we did.
We left after Brock Purdy threw that interception in the
Chuba.
Chuba. I keep saying Brock.
Brock was his brother.
I was calling Brock. Chuba, when he threw that interception, when things in the fourth
quarter.
I was like,
we had enough, dude.
I was like,
he had, 7 or 8 series in a row that went for 3 and outs. I mean, how can anybody, stick around and want to watch that? I mean, it was so hard to watch. And we were screaming, or you were screaming.
Oh, yeah.
To take him out. And they brought him back in, and we were shocked they brought him back in for that series. And he threw an interception, and it was honestly the difference in the game. So that was kind of why we left.
Yeah. So I think number one thing I want to talk about to start is just the quarterback situation, because after the game, the question was asked to Mickey is, whose decision was that? And he mentioned between him and Whipple, it was a joint decision to keep him in, to keep Chuba in there. And I don't understand why, because after everything we saw after the first 2 drives, and really the first 2 drives, most of it was Grant and him on his feet. But then we didn't see anything after that to say, you know what, this is our guy.
Well, the tricky thing is, I feel like Mickey's comments were, I left it up to Whipple because he is the offensive coordinator. And I don't want to, I want to let him make the call. That's why, he's the offensive coordinator. That's why we pay him the money that we do. And I think Frost kind of did the same thing. And I think that Frost and Whipple had a disconnect because Frost was going to try to kind of take over what Whipple wanted to do.
Yep.
And that wasn't really, what he was expecting. And so I think Mickey was kind of in a tricky spot there where he didn't want to try to do the same thing. But if you want to be the head coach, you gotta pull the trigger. It's your call.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and he is the head coach. And if you're seeing continually over and over again 3 and out, 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 and our defense getting a minute to a minute and a half of rest. I mean, there was times we only ran 40 seconds off the clock on a 3 and out.
And a 3 and out that was piss poor.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like. It was, we ran, and we had penalties, yes, but it wasn't like we were even close. I mean, they were 3rd and 7 or longer, and 3rd down was Chuba running around, scrambling, and throwing the ball out of bounds. I mean, that was it.
3rd and 7, 3rd and 9.
For several series in a row.
Yeah, 3rd and 12. Even our offensive line, I didn't think our offensive line was that terrible. Sometimes in the run game, but I don't think we ran the ball enough. And we continually do not run the ball to the outside. We continually try to run it up the middle. We have a successful run, and again, we did the same play back to back. And guess what?
Right.
The second run, we lost 2 yards after gaining like 5 or 6. And so I don't know what Whipple's deal is. If he's the one, if he's truly our offense coordinator, then he sucks. I mean, he is not a good offense coordinator.
I can't see him being around.
Congrats having Kenny Pickett. I mean, if that's your one success story.
Honestly, I don't think Mickey's going to be the next head, and we can get into that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be the next head coach, and I'm not sure Whipple's going to be around next year.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the quarterback situation. Chuba was clearly not having a good game. Smothers comes in the third quarter for
3 plays, 1 drive.
For one drive, and the first play
looked promising. It didn't go for long. It didn't go for much, but it looked promising.
But I think then the next play, Grant tripped or slipped.
Yep.
And so then third down. I mean, it was just a crappy situation.
And I'm not sure he even threw past the sticks, but I think it was a drop anyway. And he may have been trying to throw it on. It doesn't matter. But then it was, oh well, you got your shot. I didn't like that. I thought he should have played the whole second half. And honestly, he should have, because as you saw when he came in, he brought us back into the game.
He gives the offense a spark. He's a different type of quarterback. And again, you bring in a different style quarterback. Look what Minnesota did. They took out Morgan and brought in their backup. I couldn't even say his last name. But
I'm not sure the announcer could either.
But he was a dual threat quarterback. And right away, that first series, they come out and they're marching down the field. I'm like, damn, this quarterback should have been playing the entire year for Minnesota.
Agreed.
Because he was much better. He didn't have a great arm.
He was poised. He was very poised.
He was poised in the pocket. He was able to scramble and run the ball. Morgan can't do that. And he was able to throw downfield.
He did not look nervous in the big-time role that he was doing, where we've seen Chuba, his 2 opportunities he's gotten, he looked nervous.
Yeah.
He looks, and maybe that's, a weak offensive line, whatever it is, but we have weapons, and Minnesota doesn't have as many weapons as we do. Yes, Ibrahim, whatever, he is amazing.
Carries it 40 times.
But we have better talent than Minnesota does, in my opinion. Maybe not on the offensive and defensive line, but weapon-wise, we are better than them. We always have been. I sure hope we always will be. But their quarterback looked poised, calm, cool, collective, and we have we have a quarterback that just looked scared and nervous and never under control.
Yeah. Well, and Tristan mentioned, Logan brings different things to the table compared to Chuba. Chuba did look hesitant in some of his throws. And here's the thing with Chuba, I don't think he's confident in his arm. And you can see his arm strength isn't good. And we were only 5 rows up, so we could see pretty well, field level, what he was doing. When he brought the ball back, it was like he'd bring it here, but then when he went to throw, it's like he would arch his wrist. So yeah, you're not going to throw the ball far this way, and that's why it was coming out so weird. And he just let loose, and he wouldn't let loose. He's just cradling that ball.
Right.
And I'm like, you can't throw a football. Like, who's letting you throw a football like that? I hope you're not doing that all the time, but I saw that multiple times.
Well, he's supposed to be a pocket passer quarterback. Honestly, the few times I've seen him actually run, he looks pretty quick and pretty decent when he's comfortable. When he's not, or when he is planning to pass and has to scramble, he looks panicked and not good.
Yeah, and so, William, you mentioned, wanting Whipple out. I don't think it's going to matter because he's not going to be retained by whoever the new head coach is.
I don't think so.
But
well,
again,
we can pay that. We can pay that contract off.
I don't care who. And again, this is just our opinion, and I respect yours as well.
Sorry for calling 2 hours, guys, bro.
But if you are an offense coordinator and you fail to realize that your quarterback's not getting the job done, and you don't put another quarterback in, a quarterback who's been there longer in Nebraska, at Nebraska, on the practice field with these guys, and you don't have confidence to put him in, clearly when he has a different set of skills, I mean, you're not even giving your team a chance to win. So I
would be so mad if I was a defensive player on the team.
Yeah, so
I would have been going to the coaches saying, put Logan in.
Yeah.
Logan has stuck with the program through coaching changes, coordinator changes. Like, to me, if I was him, and I played sports and I never would have gone transfer portal, but it's just because of our time. But if I was him, I would have bounced. I'm serious, I would have bounced. And he had so many opportunities to do so, and he hasn't. And it shows, like, what kind of a character kid that he is. And if I'm players on that team, I'm saying, if Casey can't go, we need to play Logan.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to get Logs going.
Yeah. Or again, you can't just give him one opportunity.
One opportunity. Yeah, one series is not enough, especially with all the factors around it. Offensive line not being that good, drops, whatever it is. Bad play calling, in my opinion.
We did drop the ball a lot.
We did.
I was really upset at the end of the second quarter when we had over 2 minutes to take the ball downfield.
That was the biggest thing you talked about.
The play calling was so conservative. I mean, we're up 10-0. We had a chance to go up 13 or even 17.
We've won 7 games in the last 20. You can't just be up 10-0. And I know that, and it's not a knock on Mickey because he's trying to do everything he can. I get that. Up 10-0 when things are going our way and things are not going their way, I can understand playing it a bit conservative, right? But when you have 2.5 minutes, timeouts left, or whatever it is, when you haven't won many ball games, get some points, dude. Get some points, or at least put yourself in a position to get some points. I know you don't want it to be 10-7 when you haven't won many games. You don't want to turn over. You don't want to give them possession, whatever it is, but do something better than what we did.
Yeah, and I think, too, again, with that, you have nothing to lose. Nebraska has absolutely nothing to lose except for another game. They have everything to gain by trying to do something big and score and win a game and score more points before half.
Or look impressive. I mean, if you're Mickey, you're like, we need to do something different than we have for 7 years, essentially.
Because Minnesota is not a good team, and they scored 20. They had 31 yards in the first half. 31.
They had negative rushing yards in the first half. They had 31 total yards. I took a picture on my phone because I was like, we're never probably going to see this again.
Yeah.
And when they brought that other quarterback out, I was like, oh, did Tanner Morgan get hurt? No, he did not. They shook things up. They made adjustments, in-game adjustments. We do not.
Yeah, we've talked about this however many weeks in a row, the in-game adjustments, and I think even Carricker mentioned on his page, is like, where's the adjustment? And we just continue. And yes, this is coaching. Like, this is, I don't care if Mickey's not new to coaching. He's new to his role, but Whipple has been along for a long time. We have Bill Bush has been in the coaching game for a long time. We have guys,
and I thought actually Bill Bush called a pretty decent game. I mean, especially in the second half. I mean, they being at the game and seeing the jumbotron with the time of possession and total plays, you could just see it. Like early on, we were so far ahead of them, and you could just see them. It chipped away, where they had so much more time possession on the board, and so many more plays, and it's like. Yeah, I mean, our defense actually played pretty dang well. They threw along a couple of deep balls in the start of the second half with a different quarterback. That's kind of to be, I guess, expected when, we probably don't have film on that kid. I don't know. I didn't know anything about
Probably not.
I couldn't pronounce his name. I don't know anything about him. But we did look slow in the secondary, kind of like we always do. But... I'm right there with you. It's coaching.
Yeah, and Tristan asked about, third and long. Are we doing the draw plays on third and long? I mean, I feel like we've been doing those for a long time, and I never understand it. I don't get it. I really don't. I think we didn't run the ball enough. When we did try to pass the ball, our routes were not good. We didn't try to target Vokalek nearly enough. We dropped way too many passes. I think we dropped 4 or 5 passes in that game, and so. Yes, coaching, but we also offensively didn't execute. And Mickey mentioned that in the post-conference too. Is the team didn't execute some of those plays, and he's correct. I mean, a lot of people come at Frost or other coaches saying you're calling out the players. Well, when literally the ball is in your hand and you drop the ball, that's not executing. That's not catching the ball. And we had multiple.
When your number's called, you need to make a play.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my biggest thing when I played sports, and I know I didn't necessarily play, college football, but. When they put the ball in your hands, you gotta catch it. You gotta make a play.
Yeah. So we didn't do enough, obviously, to win that game. And Lyle, yes, Mickey is our coach right now, and we mentioned it too. I think it was last week. Like, man, you're gonna see things all over the internet. Continue to see things about Matt Rule. Continue to see things about Mickey Joseph getting the interim coach.
Or Mickey Joseph going to Arizona State.
Yeah, well, and Scott Frost apparently was going to Arizona State too. So you're going to continue to see things from the media pushing information to social media. People who have these sources that they know somebody who knows somebody who knows the janitor, who knows the someone who works in the equipment manager, who spray paints the helmets, and like everybody says they know somebody. You don't know anybody, and until, like you said, Lyle, until Trev says, "Here's our next head coach." Right now, it's Mickey, and so we can, as fans, scrutinize things that happen in a game, whether it's Mickey or Whipple or Bush, whoever it is.
And I've said it for weeks.
It's our job as fans.
I love Mickey Joseph. I think he's a phenomenal recruiter. I think he's a great coach. I do not think that he is the right head coach for Nebraska at this point in time. Yeah. I've said that for weeks. I don't expect him to be our next head coach. I really don't think that he will be. Yeah. If he gets head coaching jobs elsewhere, that's great for him. I really like to see him remain on the staff so we can keep, some of the recruits that we've been getting and some of these guys that we have, on the current roster.
Yeah.
But we need a coach that is, our next head coach needs to be somebody that has some college football background that has, of success, basically.
Yep. Big Ten style football.
Right.
But, Bill Bush, big shout out to Bill Bush. He took over the defense after Chins was fired.
And I think the defense has been better since then.
They haven't been perfect. They're not
perfect.
But they played a really good game yesterday. When you're on the field, when the time of possession for the other team is like close to 40 minutes, your defense is spending way too much time on the field, which is why you can point fingers at the offense and Whipple, because clearly our play calling and our execution both are not doing the job, and we're not changing things up to keep our defense, give them some rest, get some first downs, move the ball downfield. Our D, wow, third, fourth quarter, holy cow, they spent the entire second quarter on the field. After our first two possessions where we scored 10 points, we didn't do anything after that. I don't even know how many first downs we had after that. So
we had one first down in 3 quarters. Between the end of the first quarter and the start of the fourth, we only had one.
Yeah, so that's...
And we were still winning the game most of the time during that stretch.
Yeah.
And only down by 3. It reminded me a lot of the Michigan State game last year, where they did not get a first down in the second half, and they beat us.
Yep.
I can never understand how that happened.
Well, our special teams blew up that game too, but a lot of things happened before that. I think our D was fantastic. They held us in the game again, gave us every opportunity to get the ball back. Heck, we got the ball at the 45-yard line, and then the first play offensively is a false start or illegal motion. It was some penalty. So automatically we're back. Now it's 1st and 15. And then we had 3 crappy plays in a row and 3 and out. We don't even move the chains, and we have the ball on their side of the field. That is not just execution. That is 100%. You got a point of coaching and play calling there. So it's both. But again, I feel like we were the better team, and we just didn't show it. Again,
and also, they had 30. What did you say? 38 yards, 34 yards, whatever it was in the first half.
Yeah.
They got the ball at the 14-yard line to start the second half
because they
got a penalty, and they went 86 yards. They doubled their yardage for a touchdown, and they had 214 yards in the third quarter alone to our 14 or whatever it was, and that was the difference in the game to me. Yeah. And that's essentially why after Chuba threw the interception to start the fourth quarter, that's essentially why we left the game, because why would we stay for that?
And it was 13-10, and at that time, as much as I love the Huskers, as much as I love watching games,
I knew we were done.
I just knew the game was over. And they had really good field position. I'm like, they're going to score a touchdown. They're going to continue to pound the rock with Ibrahim. Again, he had 40 carries. It's not like he's getting a lot of yards, but they chip away. They chip away. They do enough to get the yards they need to get. They move the chains slowly but surely, and
they play like other teams do. And we talked about this while we were watching another game after we left. We don't look like other teams do. Other teams play like normal football. We play like shitty football.
Normal football. We never. I feel
it blows my mind.
I feel like we don't play with a chip on our shoulder. Like the guys don't come out with an edge. Our defense did. I mean, Garrett Nelson's flying around out there.
I mean,
Robinson had a
if you don't
decent
like
game.
Garrett Nelson, then don't watch football because he cares more than anybody else. And he might not be able to be in on every play, and you might not see it, but he's probably double teamed. But he makes his name heard every week. He's a beast.
Yeah, and as far as Trevor announcing, it all depends on for next coach. It all depends on. It depends on who it's going to be, because if they're going to have a bowl game, which, man, if they're current head coach, they're not playing for a bowl game, we picked the wrong guy. But if they're playing for a bowl game and they're playing late into the season, late into the year, we might not know for quite some time unless he chooses not to coach in his bowl game. So we'll see.
That's true.
That's the only.
Unless it's Matt Rule, that's he's a fired NFL coach.
Yep.
That's available right now at this time.
Ooh, and Kara mentions, you mentioned a couple times, Kara, we're young, have some inexperience. Yes and no. I mean, we got some guys that, Tanner Farmer's not young. He was one of the worst defensive players yesterday.
Miles Farmer.
Miles Farmer, sorry.
Tanner Farmer was a former.
Yep, he was a former line. Get all my names mixed up.
I said the same thing.
Miles Farmer was not good yesterday. He was way out of position multiple times, couldn't tackle. He's not, again, coaching. I don't know if it's coaching or if it's just him. Maybe he's just not that good. But so for him, he played bad. Gifford is playing outstanding right now.
Lights out. He's playing exactly like his brother did.
He's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's been fun to watch. Javin Wright got in there, Buddha a couple times. He made some good plays.
I mean, Luke Reimer always plays with a chip on his shoulder to me.
Yeah. Oshawott Mathis played pretty well yesterday. That dude's a beast, by the way.
Huge.
You get down to field level, he's
when you're
enormous.
like this close to him, you're like, oh man, that's a big guy.
Yes, very big. So we do have a lot of young guys. Gifford's young. Farmer still. He's been injured a couple years.
The biggest thing for me is these guys like Farmer or Quentin Newsome.
Sorry, real quick. I think it's not necessarily the youth. I think it's more the inexperience, Kara. I should clarify that.
I get it.
They may not be
good point.
Freshman, sophomore, but they haven't played a lot over the last couple years. I mean, look at our defense the last few years and who we had. So I can understand why they haven't played. But I think the inexperience is hurting us more than the actual youth on the team.
I get you.
My opinion.
So what I was going to say was some of these players, like Farmer or Newsome or I don't want to single any
Buford.
Yeah, I don't want to pinpoint any particular players because you can probably say something against my point here, but I feel like they are better when they are fresh and new as freshmen or redshirt freshmen than the next year. I feel like they start to fall off. Like Nick Henrich, he was awesome last year, and then he struggled this year. And yes, I know he had injuries, he's out for the season. Yeah. But I feel like Farmer was better when he just he had to fill a spot because somebody got hurt, and he was really good. And then now it's
well, he broke his ankle.
I know, but it's why are you not as good as you were then? Newsome was really good, and I'm not saying he's not good now, but you know what I mean. I just feel like the development, which we've talked about for a while, is just not there.
Yeah.
I feel like these guys jump in and they're great. They splash in, make splash plays, and then as it goes down the line, they start to get in their head or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It is frustrating. Ross. Yeah, Newsome is not. He's not a guy to tackle. He tries to knock you down with the shoulder.
He was so much better last year, I thought.
Yeah.
And I think last year he was filling a role when somebody got hurt, and I thought he was I'm like, dang, this freshman or this young guy's really good, and this year he sucks. Sorry, sucks.
Yeah, and to Jason's point, it's funny. You talk about the script going into the game, and then we lack making adjustments. We talked about this last week. We'll come out in our first drive and look really good. Maybe even a couple drives in a row look really good, and then it's we have nothing planned the rest of the game.
Yep.
And we're just shooting from our hips and trying to make things happen
all season.
And you could tell. I mean, again, we come out, we score 7 on our opening drive, we look really good. It's exciting, it's fun, the team looks jacked up, very exciting. Second drive, we do okay, stall out, we get 3 points. Again, we got points on the board, great. And then nothing.
didn't do anything until we left the game.
Yeah.
And then we saw
once Logan came in.
And once Logan came in, and on a 4th down threw a 37-yard pass to Marcus Washington that they had to review forever. But
hell of a good catch, by the way.
Yeah, it was. But how is it that there's that much time in between what we can do on offense, or really anything?
Yeah, and I mean it's hard to watch because once you see that happening, you see the downfall after that opening drive. It's like, oh shit! Like you just see the writing on the wall. Like we're not gonna win the game. Like it sucks having zero confidence in your team to convert a 3rd down when it's 3rd and 4.
It was 3rd and 3, and we literally looked at each other, and he goes, "Doesn't it kind of suck to like not feel confident in this?" And I was like, "I don't feel confident," and Matt was like, "I don't either." And it was a quarterback scramble, throw the ball out of bounds, and I'm like, "This is why we don't feel confident in this." Because this has happened 10,000 times in the last 7 years.
Yeah. So I get it, Jason. Again, that you feel like the script is written for just a few plays, and then you get nothing after that, and it's
and the frustrating thing is we watch a lot of football. We were talking about it yesterday while we were having a few of these boys down by the stadium.
Nebraska Brew, thank you,
but you watch top 25 teams play, whether it's against another ranked team or not. But the teams just look different than we do, and we used to look like that. That's what I said yesterday. I'm like, we used to look like that.
Yeah.
Now we don't. Like I'm never confident.
Specifically, we were watching Tennessee, Georgia, and yes, they're really good. But one thing we saw a fumble. And the amount of guys running to that ball and jumping on the ball and trying to move the quarterback out of the way and grab that ball.
And the quarterback fighting for the ball, too. I mean, it was like a defensive lineman and a quarterback.
It was literally a dogfight. And I just don't see that type of fight in our team. And, again, not necessarily just on fumbles, but...
And not to single out players. I mean, I'm sure there's guys on our team that, they're fighters, but it's just like as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, and Purdy has some really good runs early in the game. He scrambled, and I'm like, shoot, he can run.
Like I said, like the 2 times I've seen him actually designed runs, he is fast.
Yeah.
It's when he tries to scramble and then he slides because he doesn't want to get hit, or he just rolls out and then throws the ball away. The design runs for him have actually been pretty decent, but we just didn't do that.
Yeah, it's same dance, like you said here. Casey, same dance, different week. Hard to be a Husker fan. Yeah, yesterday I had somebody mention when we said, "Hey, we're gonna do the show." Someone's like, "It's not frustrating at this point. It's just expected." No, not really. I mean, again, I feel like the team has talent. I still feel like the team is very talented. I don't think we're using that talent to its full potential. I don't think the game plan is well written out. I don't think it's an extended game plan. We don't make adjustments. Our coaches don't know how to. And I want to talk about it again because I think it needs to be hit hard in the offseason. This guy should not have a job after this year, is Duval.
Absolutely not.
Our strength and conditioning, shoot, we talked to a Minnesota fan yesterday, and he was talking about Ben Hart, and he's like...
He said he was from where Ben Hart was from.
Same town, yeah.
And we've talked about him all season because he's always not touching anybody, or he's like, whatever. And he's like, oh, we thought he was like a home run hit for you guys. We were kind of bummed that he didn't come here. And he only lost 2 wrestling matches in his entire high school career, and it was to some other kid that was like a first round offensive lineman or defensive lineman draft pick.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you guys think? And I'm like, he is terrible. I was like, I hate it because I thought he was going to be really good, and I was hoping for him to be really good, and I wish that he was, but I think it's just development for him.
Well,
and when you watch him, he just looks lazy. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk shit about him.
Oh, we're way past. We've already done that to him this year.
He just looks lazy. Yeah. He just looks lazy. He just looks lackadaisical.
Lackadaisical. That's a word. That's a word.
He just kind of just goes through the motions, and it's like, man, you have so much potential. He's so big. We saw him 20 feet away from us.
He
is so big. He's huge.
He's very big.
How can you not be good at football?
And so I think part of it, again, we talked about Duval. Strength and conditioning is a huge part of that. If he's not flattening guys, on the other, like, look at Cam Jurgens and what he did on the field and running guys down the field and pancaking them down 20 yards down the field. Like, Ben Hart should be doing that. Like,
Yep.
he had
And Turner Corcoran should be doing the same thing too.
Ty Robinson should be doing the same thing. Like, these
On the
guys,
defensive line.
these guys
And he did.
are.
He did at one point yesterday, and we're like, dang, look at Ty.
Yeah.
But that should be like all the time.
Yeah, and so I think these guys that are come in, they're big, and even this guy's like, we really thought he was gonna be a huge difference maker for Nebraska, and it sucks not to see him do that because he's from where he's from. He's from Minnesota. Like, they like to see their guys succeed too, just like we normally like to see Nebraska kids succeed outside of Nebraska. But
Oh yeah, the guy was not talking shit. We chatted with him for like 15 minutes. He was, some of those Minnesota fans sitting next to us were kind of d-bags, but most of the people that we talked to were genuinely pretty nice, and they know like that we're down. They didn't want to beat us while we're down,
suck.
and they were pretty nice. And they were like, we think if you guys get the right coach, you guys are going to be a threat in our division, and you guys are going to beat our ass because we had, terrible football for a long time. So
Here's one thing I've learned about the Big Ten, and we talked about it yesterday. I think the Big Ten fan base is pretty good. Next to maybe
Iowa fans that hate Nebraska.
correct. But next to maybe like Ohio State and Michigan. Some of those fans are kind of defense. But other than that, like, really, the reason why it's hard to be like a D-bag to another Big Ten fan or fan base is because you want your competition to be there.
Yeah, you want the Big Ten to be good.
You want the Big Ten to be good, but you don't want to go in and just be able to beat the crap out of a Big Ten team. Like, that's fun, but I want to be competitive. Like, I want to have a competition with your Illinois. Maryland and Rutgers, I don't care. You can be bad forever, but like, I want to be competitive with Michigan like we did last year, where we should have won that game. Be competitive with Ohio State like we were last year and the year before, where we had opportunities to win games, and we're just not getting there, and so it's kind of frustrating. But
That's a little bit confusing.
So having beverages while being stupid. So if you want Joseph, join him or take it over, or I don't get it, Robert. I don't know if you're telling us to shut up or.
I know.
Anyways,
I take that as like we're drinking and we can just shut up.
I don't know.
Or
I don't care.
Or is a typo.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that the Big Ten as a conference. I mean, look at the standings. We're about to see the standings come out for the playoff on Tuesday.
I'm very intrigued because we were pissed last week because they set it up for success for Alabama and they lost again.
Yep.
So, see ya.
Yep.
But I don't know who the Final Four are gonna be.
And now Tennessee has the loss to Georgia.
And it was a beatdown. They were not even competitive.
The overall score wasn't.
Didn't look bad, and that's probably what'll help them. They could probably, but we were talking about it before we came on. Ohio State and Michigan might both make it in. It might be, instead of 2 SEC teams this year, it might be 2 Big Ten teams.
Even though Ohio State really struggled with Iowa yesterday. Or with Northwestern. A 1-win Northwestern.
But it was 3 weeks in a row. They struggled with Iowa. They struggled with Penn State.
They destroyed Iowa, but they struggled in the first half.
And they struggled with Penn State, but blew them out too. I mean, I guess the committee might be better than the computer system. It might not be.
Yeah.
We'll see how that plays out. Just so that you have kind of a generalization of like, hey, I actually watched the game, not just like a statistical thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they've struggled 3 weeks in a row, and I think Michigan might beat them.
I think Ohio State has proven that they're more of a second half team, and they had some key weapons out yesterday, which, again, even as a team of that caliber with guys that can come in and sub in and play just as well as the guys that are playing, the first team, whatever, they struggle. They've been struggling, and so I think they got to get off to a good start against Michigan. I think Michigan's going to beat them.
Travion Henderson didn't play. Smith and Jigba, I don't think played, and I heard that there was like 50-mile-an-hour winds because they got the weather that we got that moved through to them in Chicago. So I mean, you can call it a one-off, whatever, but Northwestern was like, I know they beat us, but they
Yeah.
were like one of the worst football teams since then. They've lost every single game this year. So
yeah. So I
it'll
think
be very interesting to see what the college football playoff rankings are. We said number 2 Michigan because I think that they should be behind Georgia.
they still.
But after that, I do not know.
They still could have Tennessee at 4, maybe
And
5.
where-
But really,
like,
TCU.
where's TCU?
I think TCU should probably be 4. To be honest, but I don't know. Again, I don't think that's going to happen. They got snubbed. They got snubbed last week over
The
Alabama.
problem is they're gonna jump LSU big time.
Yeah.
Even with 2 losses.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna jump them to probably 5.
Oh yeah. No.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm never surprised by the
See?
SEC getting a lot of favor.
Well, and the college football playoff rankings are, it's a television show. They like to
it's like
stir,
4 hours now.
they like to stir up topics and trouble and
How
they like to do
about-
what they can do for people to be like what?
How about
So-
that SMU game yesterday? The most points ever scored in a college football game.
What was it? 70.
140 points.
70 something.
74 to 63 or something like that. No, that's not right. That's bad math. Don't do that math. It was like
College game that high.
73, 67. That equals 140. I got it. Right, Brian? You good? Check it? Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
check that.
We were just talking yesterday. I was like, I was pretty good at math. Oh my god, that doesn't add up. But I think, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see what the playoff does. And I told Jimmy yesterday too, like, it sucks that the Huskers suck, but at the same time, like, I've been watching more college football and just trying to enjoy it because it is a great game and it's fun to watch. And as much as having our team down the way they are again this year, it sucks, but you can still watch college football. There's a lot of football on today with the NFL. Like, I've been watching so much football on the weekends. It's been great. Hopefully, and you know what? What was great about yesterday, and I mentioned on our page too, is I got to spend it with, 2 of my favorite people in the world, with Brian and Jimmy, watching football, having some beers.
Plus Annie.
And Annie, we ran Jimmy's sister Annie, so it was just fun. And Brian, Jimmy, and I were just cousins, and we just enjoyed
Gosh,
it.
we had so much fun. I mean, a win would have been better. I talked to a few people.
It was like 70. It felt like it was 70 degrees.
We were all layered up, and we were in the sun, like, sunburned today. Like, it's crazy. In November, I'm sunburned.
Yeah.
But no, I was talking to people, and I was like, I used to just care so much about the outcome of the game, and I still do want to care about the outcome of the game, but I was like, we had so much fun. I mean,
Jimmy would be down and out for like a solid 72 hours before he would want to say anything about Huskers. Like, that was old Jimmy.
yeah.
But sometimes
10 years ago,
yeah. Yeah, sometimes, but in case you mentioned, it's been Nebraska's the only team. Nebraska and Kansas were the only team since like 2016, I think, to not make it to a bowl
Power
game.
5.
Power 5. But this year Kansas is going. They got 6 wins.
because they beat up Oak State. Oak State dropped off the map, dude.
Yeah, they were
They
like
got
8.
ranked 8th, and then they got 48-0 and
Slippery slide.
48-17 or
Did
whatever.
Oklahoma end up losing yesterday?
But they did lose to Baylor, I think, yesterday.
Yeah. So we're the last school since like 2016 to not make last Power 5 to not make it to a bowl game. So that's sad.
Our records are going in the negative direction.
I
Very
said
swiftly.
I said 10-2. I meant 2-10. I would have been a lot better off saying 2-10 because we would have beat that goal.
I mean, if we can keep it competitive with Michigan at 2:30 on ABC next week, that would be amazing. But I don't. What do we got?
I'm laughing at your comment.
Oh, you're laughing at me. Not
Someone said that it opens up as we're a 29-point dog, so that might be generous. Actually,
That's very generous. If we can have
that's our worst spread this year, by the way.
Yeah,
We've been down.
that's like
we've
an
been
Ohio
favored.
State type of spread.
We've been favored for a few games, but most of the games that we've been down, it's been like 11 to 14. I think 14 is the most. 11, that's probably next, but we've been,
Yeah, we probably won the spread yesterday. 'Cause
Was
I think it was like 14.5.
it was another freaking one-score loss, which sucks, dude.
It does, but no, if we can hang next week, I mean, we're not going bowling.
Yeah, and Rob,
We're gonna play. We're probably going to play three of the best defenses that we've seen, and our offense absolutely sucks. So we're probably not going to score too many more points. I mean, I hope Casey Thompson is healthy. Maybe we can spin some things around. We moved Tommy Hill to offense. Maybe we put him out there as a receiver.
Yep.
I know he's back there receiving kicks, but all he does is standing in the back of the end zone.
I do think that if Casey's not healthy to play anymore, you better. I mean, start Logan, please. Give the kid a chance.
Run some option. I mean, I know that the first play that he was in, they ran an option and he kept it, and it only went for like 2 yards.
Yeah.
But I mean, design some plays to run some triple options, some triple option pass, some end arounds, reverses, whatever. At this point, it doesn't matter. You literally run some freaking crazy plays. I don't care. Yeah. We have to do something better than we're doing now. Then 1 or 2 yards, handoff up the middle, and then 2 incomplete passes.
If the result is still a loss, is it any different than what we've been going through for this entire season and the entire last however many years? It's not
even you'd be a laughing stock because already are. Sorry,
Casey. I'd be sad if Logan left. I would, because again, I think he's not getting that fair shot. And when you put him out for one drive and then you take him back out, they did it last week. They put him in to end the quarter after Casey got hurt, and then they put him in to start the half, and then he never played again after that 1 or 2 possessions. So for some reason, they do not trust him and his. They don't have any confidence in Logan, and that is hard to see.
Confidence, okay, maybe it's Whipple with Purdy. He brought Purdy in, and he wants to throw the ball, and he can't throw. I'm sorry. So I think it's a ego thing for Whipple. Seriously, I think it is.
Well, look at Frost with Martinez. I mean, he stuck to him.
We need to get rid of this BS ego thing and play the right freaking player.
Yep.
Do you think Stetson Bennett is the best quarterback that Georgia can have? No, but that dude can ball and gives a fuck about Georgia football. And I know he's a 5th-year senior, but he cares more than anything about that, and he will die on that field for them. And that's what we need.
Hey guys, I think we just witnessed something that we've never witnessed on the show.
Sorry.
Jerry dropped an F-bomb.
I did. I'm sorry.
Mark it down. Whatever Tuesday is. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone, unfortunately. But I don't even know where he's at. Like, is he a senior? Is he junior?
Gosh, I don't even know with the COVID
Retro year, COVID year.
Unfortunately, for us, I feel like he could leave and go to a smaller university, or maybe even a big, he could go somewhere and have success in kind of like a smaller type of role, or like not as big time as Nebraska, if you will. And he could be really, really good. I mean, he's not going to be an NFL type of quarterback, but he could be like a really good college quarterback at like at a military academy, or
you want to throw him into the military?
But he could go to like a Group of 5 school and be like a really, really good quarterback.
He could.
So,
Ross mentioned next year's schedule. Man, I haven't even looked at. I posted the schedule, but I didn't look at it that close. But yeah, of course, it's not going to be easy. I mean, holy shit! Like the Big Ten is just producing. It's getting better and better. The Big Ten as a whole. I mean, shit. Look at Illinois this year. As a whole, the conference is getting better and getting more challenging, and Nebraska is behind the game. Nebraska is behind the game on the other side of the ropes, outside looking in, whatever analogy you want to use, and we got a long ways to go. So yeah, it's not going to get easy. We really need to do what Bielema has done with Illinois. We need that quick turnaround.
They lost yesterday, but still.
Even we saw a lot of spark with Shiano and going back to Rutgers. Like there was a big spark in the way that team played,
and a spark in recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing some pretty solid recruiting there. Like they could be good a couple of years from now.
Yeah, and Ross, that's a really good point about Smothers. Like some players are really good in practice, stinking games, and vice versa. And it's funny. My dad mentioned the same thing. My dad's like, maybe he is not good in practice, and so they don't want to put him into the game. And Chubb is really good in practice and terrible in games. Like, that's actually a really good point, but I hope that's not the case because, again, if you're in that film room and you're watching any of the games from this year when Chubb is in the game, there's no way you can say that he is going to give us the best chance to win that game over Logan, who you're not giving any chance to. I don't care what he's doing in practice. You've got to give him the chance to get out there and ball.
Yeah, I hated practice as a hockey player. It sucked. But I would just get up for games. Like, seriously, like, it was just like a different mentality. And college football is like 100 times that.
Yeah.
But I know that I was not great in practice, and I got an opportunity to play in a game, a big-time game, and I was pretty good. I'm not going to lie, I was pretty good. And everyone was like, oh, like, my coach was like, whoa, you, like, showed up, and I'm like, this is how I play when it gets to game time.
Yeah.
Like, I want to play, like, I hate practice. I want to play the game. Like, I don't want to practice. I want a game. I want to ball out.
Yeah.
So maybe that is kind of how that is for some players. And I think the problem with Logan Smothers is he's had maybe one opportunity to start a game, and it was Iowa last year. And guess what? We were winning into the third quarter of that game last year, and he was pretty freaking good. He needs to have an opportunity to start and play the whole game.
Okay.
And he really has only had that option, that opportunity. And that, I think, is I think that is the difference of him coming in cold. I mean, it would be tough for anybody coming cold. So, if Casey can't go, we need to play Logan the entire game, in my opinion.
Again, like you can't find out what someone can do in one or two possessions. If
you're not coming in the second half.
Well, and if you're gonna say we can, then what are you seeing? What you like that, Casey? I was like, well, that'd be pretty cool if you're coming in. But when you play him,
we have fun around here, guys. We have fun.
We do, which is why Janet is gonna really enjoy this. When you have one or two possessions, and that's all the chance you're getting, you can't showcase your entire arsenal, if you will, of what you can do, and that's a shame. I just think I would love to see him get to do more, and we're just not.
I think Logan would be in a better mindset if he knew he was going to get the start and got it from the beginning and got to play the whole game like he did against Iowa last year.
Yep.
The difference in that was we had a punt block for a touchdown, and that effed the whole game up. But when Logan played, he was actually pretty good. Yes, you can I'd have to go back and look at it. We probably struggled in various aspects, but when he knew he was going to get the start and had it, he had that mindset, and I think he was better than we've seen him when we bring him in for packages in the middle of a game.
Yeah. Well, you talk about game prep. You talk about practice. So if you're told at the beginning of the week, like, hey, you're going to take reps with second team, you're not going to start this week, it's going to be this guy. Like, your mindset is
your
different.
shoulders drop, and you say, okay, I'll do that.
Now, you're still trying to ball out. You're still trying to say, at that point, it's not even a competition. At this point, you are the backup.
You're like, I'm going to go in if the quarterback gets hurt.
Yep.
And our offensive line sucks, and that could very easily happen.
You still prepare well. You still do everything you have to do to get prepared for the game. You should know the game plan. But your mindset is different. And I guarantee every single player that knows that they're going to be in that backup role is different. Look at Clemson. If you watch Clemson, Notre Dame beat Clemson yesterday. Clemson's going to be out of the top 10. Clemson loses to Notre Dame yesterday by a wide margin. Notre Dame just...
I finally picked Notre Dame to win a game for a change. And I just was like, I always choose against Notre Dame, and I'm gonna pick Notre Dame because I think Clemson sucks.
Well, in Notre Dame...
Clemson is getting the history of the last 5 years or 10 years, whatever, on their side.
Notre Dame put Syracuse into place last week. They played well yesterday. That was a big game with 28-7, I think was the final. Casey, it looks like 21 points. So, and if you watched that game, which I did, I mean, Notre Dame played with we have nothing to lose.
What they had, 2 running backs to go over to 100 yards?
Something like that. They had one guy with 2 interceptions. One was a pick six. They had a block punt.
Block punt for a touchdown, yeah.
So they played like they had nothing to lose. Marcus Freeman prepared the game really well, and they came in knowing exactly how to stop Clemson. They went from DJ. They played their backup quarterback. Backup quarterback comes in. His first possession, he throws a pick six. He throws a pick. And then Notre Dame scores to increase the margin by, I think, 21 points at that point. And then they ended up scoring again. It was 35 to 14, I think was the game. So, but, I mean, you look at that game, Notre Dame being a 5-3 team, came out and said, we got nothing to lose. We're playing the number 14 in the country. Let's do it.
They seem to beat good teams and lose to the bad teams. Like they get up for the big games. I mean, and I'm not saying Marshall's a bad team, but they lost to Stanford that they shouldn't have.
Well, you should have lost to either one. But
they shouldn't have lost to either one. But they beat North Carolina, who was ranked and still is. They beat Syracuse, who was ranked, and they were ranked yesterday, but they lost. I mean, they beat ranked teams, so.
Yeah, and Clemson, I mean, that was a big win for them.
Yeah.
And that was, again, like, we're not Notre Dame fans, but that was a fun game to watch because of the excitement from Notre Dame throughout the entire game, just playing with we have absolutely nothing to lose in this game. We're not ranked. We have 3 losses on the season, but we can still do better. And they came out and absolutely just destroyed Clemson. Offensively, they looked good. Defensively, they looked good. They played a complete game. And we have yet to see a full 60 minutes from a Husker team in years.
That's what I say. I mean, they were a 4-3 team. We were, going into yesterday, we were 3-4 team. I mean, we're both predominantly, big time. They've been better than us probably for the last 20 years, but we're kind of the same.
They were 5-3. They're 6-3 now.
Okay, whatever it was, you know what I mean. We were pretty similar, and they can play a full 60 minutes, and we can't. And that's been the difference.
So, we got a long ways to go. We're going to have a new coach next year. I firmly believe that. As much as we love Mickey, hopefully he sticks around or gets retained. But we'll see. Until you hear from Trev, Mickey's our guy. And Mickey and his staff, including Whipple, including Bill Bush, including Duval, get your shit together. You got to do better. Have to do better, have to game plan better, have to not come in with a short script, come in with a game plan of how are we going to adjust if this happens. Do better in film. We're not coaches. I've sat through film once in my entire life. It was in 8th grade. Or 7th grade. And I was the target.
And didn't you break your arm?
No, I didn't. So I was the target. I was the defensive end, and I blew coverage because I caved in and they went around. So they didn't end around. It was a very good play. But I bit the bullet and they scored a touchdown. So I never played defensive end again. But in film, like, I never pay attention to games because I never played.
It's okay.
I'm not a starter. But those are the things you got to see. You have to prepare well. Michigan is a good team. They are a good team last year. They're a good team this year. Last year, we had a chance to beat them as well.
We were there. And we should have won.
I think we still have enough talent on that team to compete.
That's
to
what
win.
So
absolutely, you have a chance to win every game. Every Saturday is a different week, it's a different game. It doesn't matter who you're playing. Your mentality has to be, we're going to win that game. And if you come out and play conservative as a coach and call conservative as a coach, you do not give your team a chance to win the game. So I want to see us come out aggressive. I want to throw some quick slants, some quick routes, some out patterns. I want to go downfield. I want to run the option. You throw your entire playbook at Michigan, and you win that freaking game.
And you don't have to run the option every play. You can mix that in. You can have Logan throw the ball, run the ball, then run the option, then hand the ball, whatever. I think last year we had no business beating Michigan, and we just about did. So we can beat them.
Yeah.
Do I think we will? I don't think that we will. But you said it yesterday. You said we haven't really gotten blown out by teams. Yeah. And you can look at Frost's, 1-loss record. That's proof. But I think we can. If we can hang, it's just if Casey can go, I think we'll hang. If he can't, and if we roll with Chuba or bounce back and forth between quarterbacks, we are not going to hang.
Yeah. No,
and if Logan plays and he can't get it going, we're not going to hang.
Yeah, so again, I think we throw the full playbook at them. We come with everything we have. Nothing is off limits. You just rip that playbook apart, and everything is game. Everything's fair game.
Because I think our defense is actually better than people think.
And Blake just mentioned Casey.
It's just that they're on the field too much.
Yep.
And that's really it.
And Blake just mentioned, the defense and Bill Bush. I mean, yeah, we give him credit a couple times a day, so absolutely.
Yeah, I think they're actually pretty decent. We harped on them. They have definitely improved since Frost got fired.
Still
I
not
would
great.
say that 100%. They have definitely improved since Frost got fired and Bill Bush took over.
Shenander, yeah.
But yeah, and Shenander got fired. But I think it's their improvement has shown through early in games, and then tails off because the offense lacks and the defense gets tired in the second half.
I don't have any update on Casey.
No,
I haven't seen anything.
No,
I know yesterday said it was a game time decision. Hopefully that means he's going to be ready to go next week, but who knows?
I think he could be out for the season, so who knows?
I hope not. That would suck, but
there would.
We're running up on an hour here, so we're going to wrap things up.
Yeah.
I do think Casey, that character, he's probably going to touch on Duval again tonight, so we'll share the show on the page too. But I think he's going to rip into Duval. I think he's going to have questions about Whipple. I think he's going to have questions about
He's
why.
already ripped into Duval, and I really hope that he does rip into Whipple.
I think he's going to have questions as to why we didn't see Logan out there. So we'll set him a text. We'll figure it out first and see what's going on. But thank you for everyone on the show today. We're going to wrap things up here. Once you go a little bit longer than an hour, it gets to be a little long. But appreciate everybody, Kara, Casey, Ross, Donnie, Blake, saw you on here, Tristan. Really, 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 really hope that we just play with nothing to lose next weekend. That's when you show your best. That's when you have your best chance of winning. As you play loose, you play fun. You just enjoy the game and you try to come out and win.
I was going to say, we just want to enjoy the game and, hopefully win.
Yep.
That's kind of where we're at this point.
Amen. Cheers, you guys. Blake, have a great day. Casey, Kara, have a wonderful day. Ross, have a wonderful day. We love you guys. Go Big Red, as always, and we will see y'all next week after the Michigan game.
See you next week.
Have a good Sunday.
Listen to some Killigans.
In the stakes of fair, 'tis the very